So, a warm welcome to you all, the one in presence here and the one that are online, follow our workshop together with us. This is a workshop that was promoted by AG3, but inside of the activity of AG5. This is a typical cross-cutting activity of our macro strategy. And so I'm very pleased, it's a pleasure for me to be here because I belong to the macro strategy as well. My name is Annalisa Givasco, I'm a geographer, and I'm a member of AG5 and I'm co-leader of AG7. So it's much more interesting to be here in this moment. So in this workshop, we try to go deeper in two main concepts that are very important for priority one, that already Carlo Vigna said us during the plenary session. It is about promoting digitalization for local community. And these two elements, local community on one side and digitalization, are the main aim of our workshop. In fact, the title of our workshop is New Ways to Work to encourage the settlement of youth in mountain areas. We go deeper in two main concepts. One is multi-activity mountain jobs, and the other one is the digital transition. And we do that through 5 speakers that help us to understand better these different concepts in many different ways. They look at the situation at the Alps with different eyes and try to help us to understand better. Now, every speaker has 10 minutes, no more. I'm very like a teacher, and so after 10 minutes I close, because I hope that at the end we have time just for one question for all the speakers, and all the participants that are here can give their contribution. So thank you, and start with the first speaker. This is Cassiano Luminati. He's the director of Polo Poschiavo. He's very famous in EUSALD environment because he follows AG3 in G6, so it's an important element of our macro strategy, but not only this. He's the director of Polo Poschiavo, an Alpine Center of Competence about education and support regional development with projects, but he has a very wide experience because he was a politician as well. So he knows all the aspects, both the implementation of the project as a manager, and on the other side as political. So the floor is yours. Your intervention is unlocking the digital potential of the Alpine region. Please, Cassiano.
Thank you, Annalisa. And yeah, maybe I've known most of them because I'm in the Alpine strategy since the beginning, since 2016, and that's why people know me a bit better now. Yes, it's a pleasure to talk to you about the digital potential. I'm coming from a region from the south of Switzerland, which is a small region, a peripheral region for Switzerland, but we are the border to Lombardy. It's an Italian-speaking region. And we started to work on the digital potential in 1994, when internet was really just at the beginning, was mostly an idea, or was just really starting as a tool. And there was an intuition that came to people that were not living in the area, that were living in Lugano, from an institution that is connected to lifelong learning and to vocational training. And they had like this assumption: could digital tools, digital technologies help peripheral region to get again connected to the rest of the world? and they wanted to try it out. And since we are peripheral for Swiss people, they don't know that we are really central. So they chose our area. And this was like the big chance of this area. This was a very big project where, on one side, they started to work on the connectivity of the area, so on the physical connectivity of the area. At that time, it was like most of you remember these modems that made some strange sound, and it was the end, the fastest thing that we could have. And they brought it there. They partnered also with Siemens. At that time, was the computers were Siemens, and they gave computer to every person. And this project went on 6 years. But in the central point in this project was education, because you need to train people to use the potential of these technologies, because otherwise you can provide connectivity and everything. If they cannot use it, if they cannot adapt the usage of this technology to their needs, to their companies, to their work, it makes no sense. It's just wasted money. And so that's why in this pilot phase of the project, they really worked a lot on implementing knowledge on, on new technologies. They were at the time new technologies. And at the end of the project, in the year 2000, we already had like 90% of the local population working actively with internet, because this had a really huge impact on the area. Because the idea was working also on topics that were connected to the local identity, the local SMEs, and working with them really concretely on that. So we had like, from this project on, really we noticed how the potential could be for a region to use these tools to market their products, market the region itself. We were one of the first small regions that had a internet website at that time. So it was really something that is that had a huge impact for the area that continued on. So at the end of the pilot project, they decided to create the organization that I'm running since 2001, which is the Polo Poschiavis Competence Center for Education and Lifelong Learning and project development. And this, with our work, we continue to work on with the SMEs. So we have this we're an association of public entities, and we're financed by the Canton of Graubünden mostly, and also through projects. And we continue to work with the SMEs, very close with them, trying to answer their continuous new needs of digital tools or digital skills that are intended to the development is continuous. So we need all the time to adapt to them. So we try really to work with the different areas of the economy of the area. So we work with SMEs that are working on the transformation of products, but we work also with hotels, with the museums, also with the cultural institutions of the area. very important. So this idea of also, we developed in 2020, we developed also the concept for the area that is a smart organic valley, so connecting the food and the agricultural aspect with also urban aspects from coming from smart cities, because the attractivity is also connected to that, not only to the environment, but also to all what is needed in our local governance that is connected to the competences that you train in the area and the possibility to give more attractiveness of our rural area. That if you look it on the map, you say this area has no chance. So that's 1 minute. I'm getting to the end. So I think this is a bit also the experience that we have. I think the potential, the digital potential is there. Today, in 2025, the connectivity is almost there everywhere. We heard it also today in Minister of Slovenia. It's I think the same in the urban area. It's very developed on that side. We need to train the skills. We need to be more adapted to the needs of the local communities in developing specific education courses that are tailor-made for their needs. It's not enough to do a course for to tell them what is artificial intelligence. We need to tell them how they can use it directly, and that's what we did also with a course. We had the possibility to have like a person talking coming from Silicon Valley, big experience in AI because he was developing that in the area. He's from the nearby Italian area. But when I talked to him after the people in the area asked to do something about AI, I told him we need to do something hands-on. It's not enough, because otherwise, AI, everybody knows it's a bit like expert in some way. But we need really to say, how can you use it? So, and he tailor-made a course exactly for the companies who are attending, so that they implemented now AI tools in their daily work. And this is really, I think, the key also to give a possibility to develop the area and to enhance and to unleash the potential of the urban area for the regional development.
Thank you, Cassiano. It's really interesting for me, and I want to stress some word that you say. I don't feel disconnected, because really the sound that we want to hear every time in the Alps, I suppose. And you create a very nice bridge to Lionel Croissant. He is an associate expert of the Institut de Haute Étude de l'Éducation et de la Formation. My French is not so good, but he is a member of AG3. He has a long experience as a manager and leadership of management, and now he is a very strong man that wanted to facilitate the dissemination of AI and no-code tools. So please, the floor is yours with your intervention that is scaling up in the Alps, leveraging AI and no-code tools for helping youth entrepreneurs. Please, slide.
Thank you, Annalisa. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this important event for our iPhone group. The title is long, sorry for that. It's just a school for manager in the field of education, in fact. So I've been working for the French Ministry of Education for 30 years now. And that's why I'm here to talk about AI, no-code tools as well. That's more focused on the young people who wants to create their own business, for example, in the Alps. So I think it's very important to give some information, to provide some resources in this field. AI is a new co-worker now. In this workshop, I hope we'll succeed to bring the topic to life and to talk about the the positive effects of AI. So my name is Lionel Croissant. It's not a joke. Bakery, and when I was a kid at school, it was a problem. Now it's more an advantage to make a icebreaker in that conference. So it's like AI. You can consider that with a lot of negative points in terms of relationship, human relationship. But if you go on the other side, you can see that it could be, it's a little bit paradoxical, but it could be provide more humanity and more relationship when you use it than before. So next slide, please. So just the plan, two parts that Cassiano did already the job in terms of landscape. So I will talk just after about maybe the difference between AI and no-code tools, and what is interesting for young people. It's already my target. So next slide, please. Just a number. So 60% of Alpine youth consider entrepreneurship as a career. Sorry for the mistake. So it's we have to take in account this number. Next slide. Okay, next. Okay, challenges. You already know the challenges of our Alpine region, so you can pass slide maybe. Opportunities, you know well the opportunities, sustainable tourism. Cassiano already told about agriculture, so we will see what kind of tools we can use in this field, AI tool. So next slide. Some definition and basic concepts about AI and no-code. So artificial intelligence actually is not the good word. It's not intelligence. And we can see on the next slide is just to explain, and we come back just after. What is this? This slide is it's funny because if we compare, because when we talk about artificial intelligence, in fact, we talk about only text most of the time. And if we make the, if we want to size the, to find the size of what the humanities produce as text from the beginning of the internet to today, it's about 10 to 13 bytes. So it takes you 100,000 years to read. You read 12 hours a day. So it's a big size of knowledge, in fact. But if you compare to the knowledge of a kid, a 4-year kid, for example, you realize that a 4-year kid with all the information around, so not only text, but image, feeling, etc., emotion, you realize that it's more than the knowledge only by text. So it's a problem of the large language model. It's not enough to represent, in fact, the real intelligence of a human. That's why we have to keep in mind this because the future of AI, in fact, ChatGPT is already finished in terms of research. Now the researchers are beginning to think about image recognition to give more information about the context of a human. So just come back of different. So no-code tools, you already know that is. I think no-code tools is just new tools. It's a real revolution, in fact, who gives you the capacity to have incredible tools to manage your business or to create something without code. It's brand new, and we will see when you combine both, when you combine artificial intelligence and no-code tools, it's very powerful. So next, please, yeah. So it's just some numbers, statistics about low-code adoption in European companies. So you can see is growing fast. And we are now about 70% of companies who think, of course, about these tools to enhance the productivity, to enhance the management of the different departments they have, different services. Yeah. So first part AI, second part no-code tools. Just a few examples of concrete things linked with existing companies, for example, or so in different fields, the field of tourism, for example. So you can imagine you can create now an application for tourists to provide eco-friendly itinerary, for example. It could be a creation from scratch with the no-code tools, and you can imagine that it's very powerful to propose this kind of service. Next slide, please. Another example in agriculture, especially for Axiano, so young agronomists, computer scientists. So we can mix drone use, AI, no-code tools, triangle like this. Of course, you provide some powerful tools in this field as well. And you can reduce the needs in terms of water, in terms of soil pollution as well. And it's very crucial now to get to realize that part of this tool. Next slide, please. So to another example in the field of artisanal product. So you are in the middle of social marketing. Sometimes you can recognize some tools in the middle of local tools, AI. It's sometimes it's the case here. Next slide, please. And the last example about innovation, it's more in the field of university students field. It's not commercial. Next slide. Some example about no-code revolution. So I put just 4 examples on the screen. So you can imagine that it's only a company made by young people, just young people who have got an idea, and with no-code tools, you can immediately test experiments. As the ministry said at the last conference, experimentation is very important in this field if you want to provide some resources about your own tool. And maybe you recognize some tool you already know, like Airtable, Docker. I don't know if I have to go in details after that, but on the next slide, I just make a table with some tools. I don't know them perfectly, all of them, but I use a lot of them. And just for an example, when you talk about AI, you talk about prompts. You know that the goal is to produce good prompts to be sure that the AI has got the good answer to you if you have a problem. And on the other side, you have no-code tools who manage most of the time databases with a smart method. So if you combine them, you can, for example, and it's very powerful, to create a prompt for AI with no-code tools, for example. So no-code tools is able to manage your data in a precise way. So you can invent and create a lot of different prompts depending your needs and your different databases. And the AI is in reaction of what you ask and what you need. So it is, you can just on this next slide have an example like this. So it's a make.com, you know, make. So make is just a tool to make some chain of different API. So you can different modules. In this example, it's very simple. You can just have events in a database managed by Notion, and you can just make an automation like that to find the events, go in Google Calendar, and to answer depending your own agenda. As a manager, when you create your own business, it's very useful to have this automation. And there is no AI inside. But you can see that if you add an AI in a different step, you can add an AI as a filter here and decide what you want depending what you bring to the AI as the habits, as you have as a manager, as your goal of your company, etc., etc. So the mix is very powerful because that. Yeah. Okay. So next slide. BVT the end. Yeah. Just last thing because it's just a small word in fact. Because when I was in a taxi, I met two people who are in a connection with a Alpine company. It's called Kasambu, and it's exactly the topic today because it's young people who create their own businesses in the field of artisanal, etc. So some local products, and yeah, they do agree with me. So, and yeah, they gave me some example of this real revolution, and we can't imagine to do the same business now 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's not possible. But now it's possible. So we have to deal with that, and we have to give the more information we can to the young people. Because you can imagine that there is a kind of gap, social gap or at school, and that's why we have to think about the education system to give to all the people the possibility to create this kind of project.
So thank you,
Thank you.
I want to stress two things that are very interesting for me. The first one is that as far as I understood, because I'm not born in a digital era, I'm too old for that.
It's not a question of age.
Yes, of course, I can understand, but I suppose that it's interesting because it's an inclusive system.
Yeah, true.
And so I imagine that this power to be inclusive could be very interesting. And for young people that are of this era, with the digital period, or the digital transition, they can imagine so many multi activity that open completely the scenario and was really interesting. And the other one is about growth, because for agriculture, as you mentioned, I come from Liguria. Liguria is a very narrow region, and I imagine how important would be growth in the activity in rural area, because they completely change the world if we can implement that. Thank you very much. And so now we go to the third speaker. He's Luca Dapra. He is from Merano.
Yeah.
Yes. He degree in agricultural science. So we remain in this environment. He has an experience first in agricultural company, but now he works in business, and the experience he has there is very important for us. And because he's a project developer and a project manager as well. And so he works in this multi-activities environment, and so he can explain us something concrete about this multi-activity environment in the Alps. So the floor is yours, and your title is Tackle Systemic Gap. How can hybrid space in Alpine rural region tackle systemic gap and provide solutions? So please.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction. So I'm Luca Dapra. I'm working for the Drivers since 7 years now. We started in 2017, and I'm also a AG3 member since 2019. And just to give you an idea, we are in the kind of the periphery of the periphery. So we are in South Tyrol, but very close to the border with Switzerland, Lombardy, and Austria. So up there, as you see from the picture, we have quite a lot of agriculture, a lot of free land in between. And we are now, the base is actually managing and is located in a former military area, which you see it's in the city of Silandro, which count about 10,000 people now. And it's between three different fractions. You see it's the thing in the middle. It looks like that now. And so just to explain you, so we are now managing this building. So this main building over here, the former Palazzina Servizi, and half of this building where we have creative hubs and workshops for artisans. Just to give you an idea what we are speaking about, this was built in the 30s, so between the two World Wars, in order to keep Italy safe from Russia and to make to prove that it's Italy, because Sapro became part of Italy after World War One, and this military area was built to host up to 2,400 soldiers when the town has only 1,000 inhabitants. So just to give you an idea, there were never so many soldiers. The maximum it was about 1,000, but yeah, and it was then abandoned in the 90s. So what is Finchgau? So it's our valley. It's very similar to a lot of rural area in the Alpen region. We heard it from Cassiano already, and also from Lionel, that we have, generally speaking, a high quality of life. We have a lot of possibilities, but at the same time, we are structurally weak because the place is limited. We have mountains. We don't have universities, so we have smaller companies, very small companies, usually are more closed mentality, let's say, which leads to brain drain. But at the same time, we have a lot of possibility, and that's also what we are doing at the BAL, so to create more lean and self-organized spaces. And that's very important also for a political point of view, because in a city, usually have more possibility from a career point of view. But if you want to make a bigger change, it's difficult to relate with the politicians and the policymakers. In the villages and in the periphery, usually either you're a relative of the mayor or it's your neighbor somehow. So it's easier to be able to find also a green zone and move things, because that's a huge problem in the cities, so that it's easier for the bureaucracy to say, if you have any idea about an initiative, to give you the answer, no, because, and then you get a list for reason why your initiative doesn't work. Usually in the rural area, you manage to get an answer like, yes, if A, B, C, and D is working, so do whatever you want. And that's one of the most important possibilities. And I said, since we have the digitalization that Lionel was speaking about, and also Cassiano, it can attract totally new kind of people, so newcomers, and also new generation, totally new possibilities that there wasn't there some years ago. But I will focus a bit more on multi-activity, because that's something that we forget very often, because with our industrialization, we are focusing to just have one job and strict to one job. But then our region also is the history of the whole Alpen region. It's a history of multi-activity, usually due to seasonal changes, because most of the people were involved in agriculture, so the winter is long and kind of boring. So what start to do some handicrafts and try to sell it. And in the specific case of Finchgau Valley, we have a lot of wood and marble as well. So we had kind of that focused. And then people are creative and are always looking for new possibilities to make money. So after the Second World War, they moved as a second activity to trafficking, mainly cigarettes and and coffee, and that's not just a history of our body, but it's common to the whole Alpine area. And that's very, it sounds like a joke, but it's really so, it's born as a multi-activity because, okay, I'm kind of poor after the Second World War. I can sustain myself with my agriculture, my field, but I need something more. There is not the money for handicrafts, so what are the possibilities? Smuggling. So, and now we have new ideas, hopefully. And and the basis has born out of that. And so we are also a multi-activity place. As I said in the beginning, we are managing two main buildings. So one is more, the yellow one is more for services. Then we have the blue part that I said is more for workshop and artisan. And then we have this red part, the so-called casino, where we have a event venue. And this help us, and that's also the reason why multi-activity is so important in the rural area, because it's very difficult to get a critical mass in terms of selling and also occupation. So it's important to have multiple activity to be also more agile and adapt more to COVID, a flood, whatever might happen, depends in which field you're working. And what we are doing in our example, we are offering spaces. So for every type of initiative, we are having services for SME. So education is a very important part, but also services for research and development and connecting. And we are creating events, every type of cultural events, because that's kind of the social urbanization that we are dealing with. So because a lot of people come from the city and are not looking just for a place with high-speed internet, I can get it everywhere, but also for kind of a network and a connection in the area. And that's why we, in the end, it leads to multidisciplinarity. So we are dealing with economy, social life, research, development, education, and culture, very important. And from the bottom, then we have social engagement, so which means volunteer and collaboration with university as an external campus, which helped us to become a prototype of the fourth sector. So we are kind of doing everything, which is a problem very often, but in the long term, I hope this will work out. And just to give you a bit of an idea what we are speaking about, this is our co-working space. It's about 300 square meters, and we have every type of people in here. I will come in that a bit later. We have, because we are also relying on the local population and local strengths, we have a lot of agriculture, so we build a laboratory for transformation of food transformation. So everyone can come here, rent a place, and make his own marmalade or whatever production. We are very creative, so we have a sound and music studio where you can produce music, digital or not, so or analog. But at the same time, you can also make video production because it's important to resell also your products, so that have a high quality picture, high quality production. And then we have the casino. As said, this is our multifunctional venue. It can be used, like in this picture, for a setting for conferences and workshops. And that's another point of this multi-activity, to have not only a USP, so a technical point of view, a technical advantage, but also a social selling proposition that is to just give place and enable everything, because then you can get the initiative. Now, if for just 10 people, it might move something, take the underground to the middle ground and create a new movement. And that's why we use it also for every type of concert and parties. And yeah, we have, this is an example of an atelier. It's a guy working mainly with wood and textiles that rented the former bathroom of the military area, but it has 200 square meters, and he repaired it by himself. We have also outside area, and this is very important for being open to the population, because everybody can take part. And just to give an idea about some numbers, we have about 55 co-workers now, are not just the classical co-workers, not only freelancer, but also normal employees, let's say. We have also made a deal with the region that people coming from the valley that are employed in the province, so public institutions, can work from our co-working, so that's why we call it so like public home office. We have small business locations, 22 people, and 8 new companies. And then very interesting to reconnect to what Cassiano was saying. He came back from Milan, and I have just here 2 examples. Feldfeeder, it's a startup made by a guy who had a PhD in software engineering and a company in Berlin. When he started to have children, he moved back to Finchka Valley. He was a farmer, his family used to be a farmer, and he produced this actually just sensor, but very low cost and available for small and very small farming, and it's running pretty good. And the second one, it's even more interesting because it's a classic marble producer, so artisan, that he had the passion for sounds, and through the buzz he found some people to work, to collaborate with, and produce this sound box. Is one piece of marble, so it's more or less that big and weighs about 30 kilos, and has a really high quality audio system in it, and it's pretty interesting. And yeah, so far so good. I'm just a bit over the 10 minutes, sorry.
You have 1 minute just to close.
So that's it, and yeah, you are all invited in Silando to visit us. We are open for kind of everything, and yeah, if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Luca. I find 2 things in your presentation as well very interesting for me. One is that group activity is something normal. We have to go back and to make innovative in the future. Just changing the elements, but it's always the same, because we have to adapt to the landscape in which we live. So I suppose that all the people make the same, but in the past and the future. And so it is really interesting. And the other one is the co-working not only as instrument of just a point to have digital solution, digital facilities, but also a place to create network. That is very interesting. The inclusion that I can imagine before, I suppose that in a co-working space that could be a reality. So thank you. And now we have to close the sharing, because the floor is for Martine Chaligny. Martine, can you hear us? Martine?
Yes, yes, yes.
Now,
Hello.
now is your time for the presentation. She's the director of AFRA. She's over 30 years of experience in rural and mountain development, and as well as on training activities and sustainable settlement in rural and alpine area. She is member of AG3 as well. So a lot of AG3 members are here to present experience, and that's very nice. And her presentation will be about skills, jobs, and multi-activity in the mountains toward sustainable settlement. So please, Martine, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much to the other speakers. The intervention was very, very interesting. Yes, I'm very happy to participate to this conference. My name, as you said, it's Martine Chaligny. I am the executive director of AFRAD Center. And AFRAD Center is a training center and resources center located in the French Alps near Grenoble in the Vercors, very nice and beautiful region. I will try to introduce the context and the subject of skills, job, and proactivity in the mountain through the story of our center in the Alps. Because AFRAD Center existed since 60 years, and it was created, the center was created just before the Olympic Games of Grenoble. At that time, The main concern of the local population is how we can keep our farmer in our regions. There was at this time a very big, a massive rural exodus, and many people from the Alpine area leave the mountains to go and to work and find work opportunity in the economic opportunity in the city. And at this time, Afrat Center was created to help local people to improve their skills in the tourism and to continue to live in the mountain area. And it was a very important point for the multi-activity and the starting of the pluri-activity job. With the Olympic Games, this small village started to be open to the world. And the local economy was totally transformed. It was a time of transition, and now we are speaking as well of a transition for our Alpine region. And at this time, there was a huge transition with this open world with tourism activity. Pluri-activity, the idea, as all of you know, is to have a multi job. And it's a solution to help young people to stay in our region. And we see a new profile of job starting in our different, and we see new profile at this time, new profile of people starting with most of the time agriculture and tourism activity. And it's not something very new, because in the time and traditional farming was system very seasonal, and people had time during the winter, and they have time to engage other activity, and they need as well to have new income with additional activity. So the multi-activity is not something very new in the mountain area, it's something very traditional. But what we can see, it's the apparition of new form of multi-activity. Today, our mountain region are facing to a new challenging, and the people and the youth are coming with new solution of working, and they looking for sustainable living in the mountain region. First of all, in Afraid Center, we welcome new people and other adults who want to settle in a mountain area. Many of them are now highly educated. They've got a master of different area, and they've got different area like, for example, environmental management, HR, marketing, architecture, very diverse master and degrees, and they have technical skills, or they want to have a life with their passion. And for example, they want to do some cooking, they want to do hiking, they want to do wellness activity, social activity, and they want to develop this activity in their future, their future professional life. And they want as well to work on the rural area, on the mountain area, because this is their project of life. And they are as well strong environmental concern, and they want to create eco-friendly, social-friendly activities. So there is a huge variety of projects of these young people, and that's a very important opportunity for our regions. What we see, of this pre-activity, project is sometimes the people are employed people, sometimes they are self-employed, sometimes they mixed employed and self-employed activity. Sometimes they've got activity linked with the seasonality, but sometimes they are not. They are just linked with the economic needs of their region. So it's very diverse model, and they. What is interesting is they come with a flexible economic model. And this flexible economic model stabilizes job in the region, and they help people. They help people to settle sustainably and permanently in our little village, in our little villages, I want to say, and they contribute to the local development, and they keep this village alive. So this is a very important point, because we have this new population coming with very good skill and with good competencies, and they develop new abilities in the different place and the mountain area. In 2022, in Afrat Center, we think that it will be important to create a training to support and to promote this kind of projects, because we don't have the good keys to help these people to realize their project and to have a very good, successful story. So we develop multi-skills training that we called Passeport Compétences Montagne. So it means mountain skills passports. The aim of this training is encourage the pre-activity, the multi-activity projects, and to integrate the needs skills for sustainable settlement in the mountains. The training is a 4 months training, and we include a lot of topic, of course, but I want to give you some example of module that I think is very relevant. We have one module on the culture and the identity of the mountain culture and the identity of mountain. This is very important for a successful projects integrating in a region and building local network with the mountain stakeholder. We have as well another module concerning the soft skills. And this is interesting because I know you know that AG3 work as well about this point of highlight the soft skill and certification of the soft skill on the training. So that's very interesting, because all this question of soft skill is very important in our training, and the most important is around adaptability, networking, and creativity. That's a very important soft skill to face to the challenges of the transition region and the transition of the mountains. We have as well a point as well very important concerning the legal, fiscal, and social possibility, because in our region and perhaps in other European regions, we see that very often the administrative and the legal rules is not adapted to the multi-activity lifestyle. So it's a challenge to adapt our administrative rules, our national administrative rules, to welcome this kind of activity and multi-activity. It's very often a nightmare for the young people to create their different multi-activity with the different administrative rules and social rules. We have as well, of course, work concerning digitalization. And after the explanation of my colleague and the explanation of Lionel concerning EA and no-code solution, I think that we need to reinforce as well this point, because there is a huge opportunity as well for this new project. And we have a module concerning ecologic and management activities, and as well a lot of field, sorry, I go too fast. The ecologic activity, it includes, for example, sourcing local material, energy transition, carbon footprint, zero waste activity.
You have 1 minute more.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I think I was too short, but no, it's very long. Okay, so that's the different point that we manage in this training. I want as well do a little focus concerning the initiative of AG3 groups concerning Discover Mountain Job. There is 2 years that we are working in the Alps to welcome a group of 10 and 20 young people to discover the different opportunity of job in the mountain, and they discover as well a lot of new projects and inspiriting projects of multi-activity. So I want to thank the AG3 group for this nice initiative, but I'm sure that Emma can explain you more than me about these points. Yes, to conclude, I just want to see that proactivity in the Alps is not a new concept, is something that's very old, but it could be key solution for the future mountain region and for the young people to create their livelihoods on traditional and modern skill on the future. Okay, I want to stop now. I'm sorry for my English.
Thank you very much. I know that you have a lot of things to say to us, but I'm very bad and I stop everyone and I want to, because I have a strictly indication.
Yes,
so,
yes.
You say that one thing I wanted to remark, that is the flexible economical model. That's interesting to develop this concept that put together all the ideas or all the elements that everyone share with us. Now, at the end, we speak of young people, and now we have the young people that is together with us. She's Sandra Azari.
Yes.
Okay. She is from the USALP Youth Council. She comes from Klagenfurt. And now she's together with, she studied at the university, and she's a Bachelor of Degrees in International Business and Economics. So she knows very well, she is high-level degrees, and so, but she lives in a rural area. And now she tried to share her experience with us as some reflection about multi-activity mountain jobs as future trend. So please, Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Annelies, and also thank you very much to all our core speakers for providing us such insightful and impactful insights into this topic. Because I'm not such an expert on that field, I decided to maybe provide some field point of view in this area. And to be honest, I wouldn't say that I represent the whole young population, because I'm not a fan of the word young population, because who decides when one stops being young? In the end, we all have to work until we are 65 or older, so it's all on one time. Anyway, like Annalisa said, we are my state is the state of Carinthia. It's in the south of Austria, and even though it is the 5th largest federal state of the 9 states in Austria, it is also the seat of federal government and the center of administration. But even though I come from the, let's say, capital town of the federal state, we still have to face popular problems in the Alpine area. So a lot of students that go, there's a university in Frankfurt, where also I study at. And there are typically two points of view of the students that go there. At the one hand, the students decide to, they plan to go somewhere else and attend another school, a different school, maybe get some training in technical and soft skills. But then in the end, they come back and they want to take part in the value creation process in Frankfurt. So they come back to our rural areas. That's why I would say that it is a common misconception that everyone who, let's say, leaves for studies to go into another town, that decides to never come back. In reality, most of the people actually come back to where they came from. At the other hand, some people, my peers, they also decide to stay. They decide to stay in their hometown because of the quality of life that we all know. So I think we're all from different parts of the Alps, so everyone is has some point of view to the quality of life in his or her area. And I think that the reasons are all known to you why someone would like to stay there, even though it might be a rural area, but it offers a lot of opportunities like we have heard that today. So for that, I have actually an example that might lead us somewhere, and it's how the multi-activity mountain jobs might be also a future trend. At my university, there is a lakeside park that is specialized in science and technology. It is located also near the university, and it offers not only trainings but actually networks for young entrepreneurs and startups. And the technical and IT department of the university, they support them. So it is let's say like a startup incubator, if one would like to say that. And in my mind, it is very important to let those centers be built in rural areas where the infrastructure is more open and where also we don't have so many opportunities in that way. And another example is maybe a middle school that is located around 20 minutes away from my town. And in that middle school, my sister is a teacher there, and there are students who attended school who are from a small village, let's say about 1,000, 1,200 meters above sea level. And they know the small pupils, the small children, they already know that they want to stay in their village and become farmers like their grandfathers, like their fathers were. So if we talk about digitalization there in the, let's say, digital ops terms, for them, digitalization wouldn't necessarily mean that they would go to school and use Excel as or Microsoft Word, maybe in that kind of way. But digitalization for them would mean to, let's say, at home at their farm, they would use some kind of devices to help improve the growth in the agricultural area. So we have to keep in mind that everyone uses AI differently. One other misconception that there is maybe is that young people aren't always experts in the digital area. So even, let's say, fresh graduates needs training, and that's why we mustn't forget that training and education never stops, and we shouldn't just try and offer trainings for older demographic levels, but for all levels, and also in a very, very, very wide area. So in order to ensure that multi-activity mountain jobs are really a future trend, in my mind, we should just concentrate on making the Alps ensuring that the quality of life in the Alps stays there. So for example, that we have the infrastructure that is given, let's say in the technical sense and in the digital inclusion sense. We mustn't forget that education stays important. So for traineeships and also other training courses. And in the end, also the possibility of remote work and of all the other modern trends in the working world that are coming towards us. So by ensuring that the Alps and the mountain areas, as far as they can be, a place to live in a sustainable way to maximize that. This is also the way that the multi-food and mountain jobs can stay there in the future. So in Austrian or in Austria, we have a term that says Lebensqualität, and it's let's say just quality of life. And this is something that is very much used in the alpine area. And for example, we all know that the Alps can be used for not only for let's say vacancies or going to skiing or swimming in the lakes, but also for a powerful brand of tourism with all the opportunities that we heard about today. So just to conclude, with all of the insights today, we know that digitalization is not an obstacle to cope with, but it is very much a challenge to grow on, and it is that for all the demographic layers. And we all have to learn. We never stop learning, and we need trainings for everyone. And in the end, this is how we can make the Alps not only digital Alps, but also digital Alps in a quality of life way.
Thank you, Sandra. It's nice to hear that you don't want to leave your country and that you want to come back and to help your country to become better or to give more opportunity to all other people. And it's nice to hear that not all the young people wanted to leave and stay abroad. I think that this is a trend because sometimes we imagine that they want to come back, but they come back. Now we have 20 minutes, no more. I'm not sure to be able to make a random question to you all because, or you promised me that you answer in really 2 minutes. We try. So I just some question for all of you. So we try to make this a question. First, I start from Luca. Luca, I would like, because you emphasize a lot your local community and your experience, and I love it. And I understand that you can be creative in here. So please, I want that you try to create a very short slogan to invite other people to make the same or to come to your community, and how you think could be interesting for young people. The word that you imagine.
Yeah, I just have to use a word with the experiment.
Experiment.
Yeah, it's because that's something that is really a problem, I think, worldwide, and those my experience with different companies and stuff, that there are always high expectations. So, like, you are not supposed to fail. So, and it's easier to take the easy way and just do what everybody else is doing. So, and that's also what we are doing at the band. So we know that I would say 80% of what we are doing is not working. But if you don't try it, and you just say, yeah, it will not work anyway. So it's, and you know, if the 20% that will work and might make a difference in the end.
Okay. And Sandra, if someone tells you you have the opportunity to experiment your idea in one place, it's something that for you and for your peers could be interesting. Or sound good or sound completely, no, I cannot do. I'm terrified to experiment something new.
Yes, I completely agree with that because I think that you can't learn from success, you only learn from failure. And by achieving failure, you must experiment. So in the end, comes also to the background, like someone who grew up and how they would like to, in which direction they would go they would like to go in the future, but experiment and what also we talked about, this is in every way a part of that, and should be emphasized that it's okay to do that more than ever in the trends of AI and in the digital age, because there is so much to experiment in that field.
Okay, thank you. Lionel, they said that they are ready to experiment something, but without competencies, sometimes it's not so easy to experiment. You have the risk to have a failure. So, which kind of competencies we have to develop to make a more digital transition world with AI and no-code tools?
That's a good question. Of course. Outside the fact that you need to be able to manipulate digital devices to, okay, it's not the most important in my view. The most important for me is to get the capacity to analyze your own strategy, your own process, what you do in reality. It's like, it's like when you are looking for someone in a new job, you have to give to the person some information to replace someone in the company. So you have to deal with the fact that you don't know anything about you, about your company, and you have in a minimum of time, you have to give to this person the maximum of information of your strategy, your process. Exactly the same for an AI. You have to be able to analyze what you do in reality. It's not so easy to say, okay, what I have to do every day when I have some habits in my company, etc. You didn't realize that you have a lot of information to give to someone who no knowledge about you, your actions, etc. So this capacity is crucial for someone who wants to deal with the AI. And of course, you need the capacity of creativity, because it's an action, it's a creativity in action, in fact, because you imagine something new each time you add to the AI, you ask something new, and the answer is always new. So you have to adapt your action depending the answer of the machine. So creativity is crucial as well. And of course, the traditional skills you can have in collaboration with others, in relationship, important as well when you use it in a company, when you collaborate with someone.
Siamo, you have a lot of experience in involving SMEs and to facilitate the digitalization process. You started very early, as you explained before. And what do you think is important to facilitate the digital transition and to encourage the settlement of them?
Before I answer the question, I think what they're doing is very cool. So we need to help them not to fail.
Yeah, sure.
So this place is really, and I think it's also giving trust to young people. I think it's also very, very important, because this is a project that comes out from a group of young people getting older now, but it's very important. I think this is a key aspect, because for keeping also people in the area. So having like places like there, building up is very important. And regarding the SMEs, I think we need to listen to them what they need. I think they are not, the SMEs in the Alps, they are not living in a bubble where they don't know what's going on in the world. So they are, and many times what's happening is they come and they ask. So they know that when they come to Moscow asking for something, we can generate something for them. So, and they know that education is important. I think this is something what they learned in 20 years, that we are there and we can answer to the needs.
Yeah.
So the last one was this AI discussion that we had with the organization of the SMEs because they wanted to do something. They said, "Oh, we want to know more," because it was on the news all the time. You know, like 2 years ago, it was like every day there was like 10 news about every kind of AI and all the so. And I think answering to this need to they wanted the answer to a course. It was really something that is interesting, and so we developed something, as I said before, that was tailor-made. I think I think is one of the aspects that we need really to all the organizations that are doing training in these areas should not just take like a course that you can find online now. At the end, you could learn everything online, but to really adapt it to the local needs and to the local context, I think is very important. And I think also we heard this, the heritage aspect. You know, we know how to do multi-activity jobs. We know how to do circular economy because we did it already. It's not, and not like it's not Neanderthal. Did that. Our grandfather and grandmother did this kind of had this kind of approach in life. So I think we can learn from that and adapt it. We don't have to. Today we don't need to smuggle cigarettes or coffee from Switzerland to Italy or Iran. We need to do other kind of approaches, but this having like in mind that this is in the DNA of rural and mountain people, and we can really work on that, helps also to make the change, because this is not something that is completely far away, but it's really rooted in what we did. Just need to trigger and to show that. I think it's very cool your picture about us. It's really it's a multi-activity.
Martin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a lot of experience of new entrepreneurs. So can you tell us some success story in your experience? Because you explained that you try to be tailored as well as for Cassiano, make the same for the SMEs that already work on there. But you make a specific development of skill for new entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Good story for us.
Okay. I will take an example to be short. The example of Laura. Laura followed the training in last year, and she had the dream to be a hut keeper. And she wants to live in the mountain and to be hut keeper. She has 10 years experience in a big society concerning managing HR, but she wants to live in mountains and to be hut keeper. She don't have the level to go to the national diploma, because in France we have a national diploma for the hut keeper, and she doesn't have the level. So she came and she wants to have projects to live all year long in the mountain, not just in the season of hut keeper. So she came here and she stayed 4 months. She worked on the project. She improved her skill and his competencies concerning hut keeper, the meeting on the field. She do some training period with some hut keeper and so on. So she improved a lot her competencies, and she worked to a long life project concerning to live all year long in the mountain. So at the moment now, she has finalized the hut keeper national diploma, so she succeeded on this. She has in Savoie, she managed huts in mountains during the summer period, and during the rest of the year, she create a new activity that we call a third place. I don't know if you know this concept, but she welcomed the local population to help them, to help the local population of socio-cultural service and digital basic service on the rural area. So she can link her HR professional and history, and his new dream about to be a housekeeper. And I think it's one of the good, nice story.
Fine. I have just the time is finished, but just 1 minute to have if someone wants to make a question. Yeah, of course.
Many times today and also yesterday we heard the importance of having funds to realize this project.
Really fun.
No, money. So I was wondering, at least the question open to all the speakers, but also to the commission. So to what extent, for instance, some of these projects were realized thanks to the fact that there was like European support. For instance, some of those maybe projects were funded in some programs, and in the future, how European funds could help ensuring that multi-activity could be a trend for young people to stay in the mountain or in other remote areas. So this was a question for both. Sure. Yeah, based on the experience, I really.
So we had a very great opportunity to start in 2017 with a ERDF project, but then finished, and now nobody is seeing really an advantage in having us. So we kind of are also always asking for a bit of money. We are self-sustaining actually at the moment, or we are partially. We need some public money to cover certain costs, but it's like so every month is our rent. Okay, are we able to pay our salaries or not? But we are still fighting for that, and we are making a lot of European projects of different levels, from European Bauhaus till Creative Europe and more or something. We're applying everywhere. But the huge problem that I see for us, we are used to it and it's kind of our needs. But for younger initiatives, it's a huge burden because you have to make quite a lot of bureaucracy to apply for something that maybe you get in 1 year, 1.5 years, and when you get it, it's not even start of the problem because then you have to make all the accountants and everything. So I think the bureaucracy is still a huge burden for small initiatives.
Also funds, because as Cassandra was saying, we need to keep failing if we want to find a solution. So
and that's also a problem because I understand that you have all the funds are made for kind of research and innovation, and they always want to have certain KPI, but you don't have, let's call it play money, to just try out and see if something is working, because social innovation, it's difficult to evaluate the outputs, and so it's very difficult also to write down, so to figure out some KPIs that you're really able to face in the end.
Yeah, so just very quick remarks. I think your approach is the right one. So it's not only EU funds. EU funds, you know very well, Martin. So it can be EU funds, it can be, the ERDF regional, program. It can be Interreg funds. It can be directly managed EU funds. It can be, as you explained, Luca, we try many European funding sources, but also there is a lot of regional, national, even private funds. The EU funds, in France, for example, it's a very, very low percentage of the overall funds that, France gives to its regions, to its partners, and so on. So I think, and sometimes, we always talk about, complementarity. For example, you could have a project that at the same time you use ERDF to build, for example, a training center, and then you use ESF plus funds to organize the trainings within the building. So, we always talk about complementarity that can make your project feasible, but of course without double counting the same expense. Voilà. And also sometimes the fact that you can get European funds, it's not only, for example, I'm swimming in swimming pool in Brussels, they received 1 million European ERDF funds, but the fact to receive 1 million was not so much compared to the 8 million it cost, but it is the leverage effect. The fact that there was European money, that there was some money from the Brussels universities and some money from the Brussels region. This then motivated other people to also give the fund. So it's not only about the money that we give as such, it's also about the leverage effect that it can create.
Can I just add something?
Just one
One
second.
It's great what you said.
Because
it's a huge political game.
Yes.
And very often it's already known who gets the money. So it's like 80% is already going for this and this research institution, and the rest is we'll see.
I think that the problem there, and I fully agree with you because I followed it a little bit, is the very heavy administrative burden. And it's true that sometimes, when we talk about regional funds, I know that some regions like to work always with the same people because they know that they have the administrative capacity. They know that those people know how to fill in the forms and how to, certainly, but I think it's also worth at the end of the program period contacting them again because sometimes there is money left and they have to spend it.
Yeah.
So sometimes, which is now, well, the end, 2027 is soon. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because we have to close here.
Yes, sure.
I thank all the people that were online. Thank you very much for all the elements that you give to us and for the other ones that were together with us just to hear what we say. So thank you very much. We have to leave and I have to remember to the people that are online to switch on the plenary session. The link is the one of the plenary session. So thank you to
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.